Are you tired of the marketing guessing game? Does your website feel more like a digital billboard than a client magnet? If you're nodding along, you're not alone. And it's time to stop the uncertainty and start getting real results. Let's talk about your marketing spend. Are you just shelling out money every month and crossing your fingers? Do you ever wonder what impact your marketing is really having on your revenue? Well, it's time to take the guesswork out of the equation with Rise Up Media. We've been working with them for over a year, and the feedback from our fellow members has been fantastic. Rise Up Media is here to take your marketing to the next level. They'll even perform a full audit of your online presence, giving you the good, the bad, and even let you in on what your competition is up to that you're missing out on. And the best part, there's no obligation, no catch, no pressure. If you decide to work with them, their contracts are month to month. That's right. No long-term commitments tying you down. So what are you waiting for? To learn more about how Rise Up Media can transform your firms, visit riseupmedia.com/maxlaw, and Rise is spelled with a Z. riseupmedia.com/maxlaw.
This is Maximum Lawyer with your host, Tyson Mutrix.
All right. So, Becca, in January, you and I had a conversation. We recorded it and we were talking about vendors. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And I thought it was kind of interesting because I got a lot of like texts and comments from people about how worked up you were over it. You got some beef with just generally with vendors.
I do.
You want to talk a little bit about that? What we talked about in January?
Yes. So one of our guild members had made a post about them spending money and essentially not getting the service that they were told that they were going to get if they spent that amount of money. And so it was at that point that I just felt like there had to be something that we as in Maximum Lawyer could do to help that situation, because that's not the only time that we've heard of it. We've heard plenty of people in the past say the same thing. We continue to see those posts happen in the group, in the big Facebook group. And so it kind of stemmed from there that we came up with a solution.
I think it's interesting how worked up you got over it, and like rightfully so. And I think all law firm owners at some point have probably gotten super worked up, and then but we're just kind of like just take it at this point. You know what I mean? And so I feel like we all should be more frustrated.
Agreed.
On a regular basis. And so what's cool is you had an idea that we have done something with. So What was the idea?
So what is it, or what did we call it?
Well, what's the idea? And then we'll tell people what we call it, what we're going to call it.
Okay. So the idea is a review website for product and service providers that law firm owners use. And it's just a centralized place where everybody can go to see what are experiences that other law firm owners have had with this service provider before you get into a contract or give them money and then have your own bad experience if someone else can just tell you about theirs.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think it's a brilliant idea. And I think it's interesting. There's nothing that exists at this point when it comes to this. And sure, there's Google reviews, but they're not like all in one place. It's not consolidated into like one place where everyone can go look. And that's obviously not specific to legal vendors. Also, like lawyers and attorneys, we've been getting reviewed for, I guess, a couple decades at this point. Like, why there has not been something that existed up to this point is crazy to me.
I agree with that. I do think that it's crazy that it took this long, and that it's really enabled the service providers specifically to operate in the way that they have and make the money that they have on false promises and things like that. So it is very interesting. It's going to be a big change.
Do you want to tell people what we're launching? And it's coming out of beta. It's free to users forever. So just start with that so people don't think that we're trying to pitch them something, because we're not.
Yep.
This is truly because out of your frustration because of what you've seen in the guild. So what are we calling it?
So we're calling it Becca's List. So that's the website.
Pretty cool.
Yes, beccaslist.co.
That's right.
Yes.
You can also get there beccaslist.io, but we're not going to get into the development and all that, because that was a little bit of frustrating thing that we went through, but we got it done. Yep.
Absolutely.
I love how you just kind of, you just nod and smile. That's right. Because we went down one path, and then I pulled a left turn and just kind of went the other way.
It's just standard.
Just pretty normal.
Yep.
But it's done. It's out of beta.
Yeah.
And What are you most excited about it?
The ease of use.
Yeah.
That especially, okay, so I will say more, anybody can use this, but more the solo to small law firm owners, especially people just starting out. You're not going to have a big budget, but maybe you're like, well, should I invest in this thing or this company or this thing to really just start up, ramping up that either intake, whatever it is that you want to do or change. I feel like this is the number one place you can go and trust that you're going to get real experiences from people. I think it's a little different too, if you think about it. Google reviews are solicited by the provider.
Sure.
Right? Especially, even law firm owners do it. Like, hey, we're done working together. Such a great experience. Please leave me a great review, which is necessary. But it's also necessary for the people that you're paying to do the exact same thing that you're doing.
Absolutely, it is.
And this isn't going to be that. It's unsolicited, and it's everyone freely sharing their experiences so that you don't have to learn on your own.
Yeah, I thought one of the really good ideas that you had was to make sure, which was created a nightmare for me, but insisting on the LinkedIn login.
I do.
Yes, and I think that was great. It was a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
That created a lot of problems getting that to work, the integration to work. It was way more effort than I thought it was going to be, but we got it done. What was the thinking behind that?
I just think that it validates that there's a real person behind that review. I think there's nothing to hide behind. Just in a world where reviews can be left under usernames that are like A16 2008 at
Sure.
whatever. And you're like, okay. And then there's no profile picture, no nothing. It's just, is that a valid review, whether it's positive or negative, to be honest, because I also don't want fake positive reviews either. That defeats the entire purpose of this. So linking it to someone's LinkedIn account, if you leave the review, it does tie it back to you as a person and as a business owner. And that's what I really wanted.
Yeah. One of the things we talked about too is the inability of vendors to be able to get reviews changed and all that.
Yeah.
And like they can't pay to get anything changed. You know what's going to happen. There's going to be a point where someone's going to come to us crying about a review. And like, I guess, how are you going to handle it? Because I know two sides of Becca.
Okay.
And I part of me thinks like Becca's going to be like, the shoes on the other foot, Becca.
Wait, which one do you think is going to happen?
I think you're going to be more the shoes on the other foot now. You're the vendor. You need to suck it up and accept the fact you got a negative review and get better at it.
What was the other version?
I guess they're both kind of similar, but you are a very reasonable person. So I think that sometimes you can be a little reasonable or you're always reasonable, but maybe budge a little bit, but not much. Like you don't budge much.
So I'm not budging on this.
Yeah.
Because the why behind it is stronger. I feel like I maybe know where you're going with this. I think you're more talking about the way that I do customer service.
Yeah.
I think that might be where that's actually coming
Yeah, I think
from.
that's what it is, yeah.
And it just feels a little different. Yes, when it comes to customer service, I might budge on things because I feel like it helps with better customer service, right? That's not the idea here, though. So I could look at it this way. If I were to remove a review that a vendor got just because they email us and they say, hey, we really don't want this up on your site, like everyone's seeing it, it's impacting us. The good customer service is that I leave it up because the customer service is for all of the users, not for the vendors.
Right. I think it's a great way of pointing it. And now, not to say, if it's a fake review of let's say that someone was just going on just to bash because they're a competitor or something like that.
That will be a very different situation. But again, we have accountability with if I can tie your LinkedIn account to a competitor and I can,
That's what's great about it.
Yeah.
That's part of the brilliance.
Exactly.
Yeah. A little bit of my concern is that people that don't maybe have a LinkedIn account, but at this point, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, that's kind of crazy.
I will say that you should go get one so that you can be on Becca's list. That's going to be my answer. I feel like if you're a lawyer and a law firm owner and you don't have a LinkedIn account, I would say that you should just go get one anyways. I'm not going to lie. You should be networking as a business owner, even like locally. And then when you come to events like MaxLawCon, things like that. And I feel like LinkedIn is the perfect way to stay connected to someone where it's not like you're not seeing pictures of them, on their beach vacation or with their dog or anything like that. I think that LinkedIn has a really great purpose for you and for your law firm. So I don't think we'll run into many issues.
Yeah, it's true. Do you want to talk a little bit? I think this might be beneficial to people, just talking about like the development process in just generally big picture.
Okay.
Yeah. How that kind of played out. Now, we don't have to get into specifics about like what like platforms we switched, all that kind of stuff, but maybe just like from idea to development of the idea to then implementation of it, and then like going through and like launching features, testing out features, changing things and all that. Because the reason I wanted to ask is like we started with smiley faces instead of stars.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like,
Okay.
just that the iteration of
Yes, there was definitely iterations. You might have to lead this. I feel like you really took on the technical development of this, and I was more honestly looking at it from a user perspective. When we were coming up with ideas and when we would create it and then attempt to look at it and review it and be like, "Oh, this isn't it." We did have a big play on smiley faces. So we
did.
thought our rating system was going to be maybe a happy face, a sad face, and maybe a neutral face or an angry face. When you go in to use something like that, there was a lot of faces. There was just a lot of faces everywhere.
And there's so many different kinds of emojis.
We incorporated faces into the logo initially,
Yes,
which
yep.
as you can see now, there's no smiley face in the
The
logo.
color was different. The
colors went from two tones to two different
purple
tones.
and I'll call it purple and orange. You probably use different colors.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
purple
fine.
and orange to blue and yellow.
Yellow, yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, so we switched from the smiley faces to your typical 5-star review. We also thought that that's something that you don't have to explain to anyone.
Not
Like
at
it's
all.
used in enough places that when you go onto a site, if you're leaving a review, you just know how to leave a star review. And we thought that the smiley faces kind of left for some interpretation maybe. And so that's why we made that switch.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So change the logo, but like the frustrating thing was dealing with the developer. And because you had created a really thorough Google Doc and we would go implement, or we would go create, like put our notes in it. It would get implemented. It was just, I felt like that was a very frustrating process.
Uh-huh.
But I felt like that part was really frustrating. Like I guess I was showing my frustration by hitting the.
You
the
were.
button.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I feel that. I agree. I do, and I am in no way a developer or even an expert in just our regular site that's hosted on WordPress.
Yeah.
But I do have this issue. I do love to have that manual control behind the site. And when you're working with a developer, it's mostly on them. And then you're solely just communicating by giving feedback. And that's been a process for sure.
Yeah, yes. Give me the login so I can go in and change the text.
Yeah.
That
Just right now, right this
yes.
second. I just want to change it now.
That because like there's also like the delay.
Yeah.
It's not just the delay, but like, and then sometimes things are lost in translation.
Yep.
And that part was really, really frustrating. Like I wanted to pull my hair out so many different times. No, I didn't mean that. I meant this or
Yes, exactly.
wrong color there.
Yep.
But that was an interesting part of the process. But things it flipped at some point where we've gone through a couple different developers and then we switched over to a completely different platform, which made it
I think
a lot
that
better.
made the change, the platform.
Yeah, much. Yeah, the platform we were using before, just I don't think it had the capabilities of. Like, I think just the style of it. It couldn't
Agreed.
create the type of website that we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just an old. I feel like it was an old looking early 2000s website almost.
Yeah.
It was funny because we were kind of going for something kind of in a way not like that, but like a simple design though. You know what I mean? I don't think we quite did achieve your initial goal for
No.
it.
And I think that's okay. But yeah, there was a much simpler version. I do think that could come from my MVP, so my minimum viable product,
Yep.
is very different than yours. And I think that might.
Very different.
Yeah, so I think that's probably where that comes in. Like this is more of that happy medium where I would have been okay. I think we could have launched with much less. And I think it's totally fine that we didn't.
Interesting. Because yes, I think our MVPs are way different.
Yeah.
Like I'm still at the point where like this little here, this little there.
Oh,
changes,
always.
Which it's a lot of it just comes down to the user part of it. Is from the user, does this make sense? Like there's some features right now that I'm working on that it drives me nuts that it's just from the coding standpoint, it's not working. And because sometimes what's interesting to me is like I'm learning all these things about the coding. Like you'll do these small things that will break the entire site and not fun at all.
No.
It's kind of like someone that screws up a case. You know, they're tinkering with their own case and screw up the entire case.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Absolutely.
But it's been interesting. I found it very interesting going through this process because it's not like designing your website for your law firm. It is complete. Like this is this is an actual product, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. A website for a law firm, for example, is even the Maximum Lawyer website, right? It's mostly just there for information.
Right.
Brand recognition. I mean, That's what it's there for. This is very different. This has to be usable by someone else. And I had never done that before. I don't think you had ever, not to this extent.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Kashif and I had some experience when it comes to like when we built out the case management system and understanding the user part of it to a certain extent. But this was a completely different level. This was like times 10.
Yeah.
This was that on steroids. And that was kind of an interesting thing. It was kind of a fun process because you're seeing something, like your initial idea come to fruition, and it turns into an actual product that people can use. That was kind of neat.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah. So it's I guess officially launched.
Yes.
How do people find it? How do they access it?
So you go to beccaslist.co and then you create your account, and you're free to leave your reviews, check out the reviews that are already in there. I don't think we had mentioned this actually. You said that we did do a beta version, but I don't think we mentioned that we did that inside the guild.
Yes, that's correct.
So the reviews that you'll see in there are actually from guild members because we launched it to them first. So again, those are not fake reviews. We didn't front load anything. Those are real reviews from other law firm owners that we just launched inside the guild and let them kind of go in and give us feedback before we did the public launch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Kudos to you for the idea. The initial feedback that we've gotten from the guild is pretty cool. It's just like, it's like the thing when you hear about it, like, duh, why didn't we have this before?
Yes.
That's pretty cool about it.
It is.
beccaslist.co,
Yes.
not .io, even though both will work, .co, beccaslist.co.
Hey, I've got a question for you. When was the last time you drove over to another law firm near you, sat down over lunch, and traded every business tip you've got? Talked about what's working, what's not, and what to do next. No? See, that's what MaxLawCon is for. It's real conversations with law firm owners who are actually doing this, building, leading, scaling, and willing to share what's working right now. You could keep doing it alone, but let's be honest, it's slower, harder, and way more expensive than getting in the room and shortcutting the learning curve. As of this recording, we've got 20 seats left to this year's event. Skip the guesswork, go to maxlawcon.com and grab your ticket before they're gone.